You know, folks say the sweetest victories come after the toughest battles, but mine? It started with what should have been my slice of heaven. A quiet 30-acre pond tucked away in rural Tennessee, surrounded by rolling hills and whispering pines. No neighbors breathing down my neck, just me, the water, and that deep kind of peace you earn after grinding through life. I'm Jack Harlan, 46 now, divorced, semi-retired after 2 decades crunching numbers for the Federal Water Resources Agency, endless reports on floods and aquifers that'd make your eyes glaze over. Finally, I cashed in my savings, ditched the apartment in Nashville, and snagged this forgotten parcel with an old shack I raised and rebuilt into something solid, simple, with a wraparound porch perfect for morning coffee and evening stargazing. But right from the jump, there was this shadow. Susan Blackwell, the iron-fisted president of the nearby Riverside Estates HOA, the sort of gated community where every lawn's manicured to death and folks obsess over matching shutters like it's a religion. She showed up uninvited during my first month, striding across my fresh-laid gravel in a crisp beige blazer, clipboard in hand, looking like she'd just stepped out of a boardroom war zone. Short auburn hair pinned back, eyes sharp as tax audits. "Mr. Harlan?" she called out, voice all honeyed authority, while I was knee-deep in installing a natural runoff filter by the pond's edge. "Yeah, that's me," I grunted, not bothering to stand, wiping sweat and mud on my jeans. "I'm Susan Blackwell, HOA president. Welcome to the area. We noticed your land borders our watershed district, and we'd love to discuss community guidelines." I finally looked up, gave her that half-smile you reserve for pushy salespeople, and said flat out, "Appreciate the gesture, but I'm not in your HOA. My property's outside the lines, and I like it that way, no offense." Her smile tightened, like she'd swallowed a lemon, and she lingered a beat too long, scanning the place as if mentally appraising it for auction. Then she nodded curtly and left. But I caught that flicker in her eyes. Something possessive, maybe even resentful, like my independence was a slap to her little empire of rules and fees. Life rolled on sweet for a while. Mornings fishing for bass, afternoons tweaking the pond's ecosystem to keep it pristine, evenings with a cold beer watching fireflies dance over the water. I'd even have my sister Sarah drive up from Knoxville now and then, sharing laughs about our crazy family history. But then, bam, one rainy October night in 2023, heading back from the hardware store with bags of gravel and a pump for the overflow basin. Headlights blinded me out of nowhere, tires screeching on slick asphalt, and everything went black. Woke up months later in a sterile hospital room, machines beeping like accusations, docs telling me I'd been T-boned by a drunk idiot running a red at 70 Traumatic brain injury, shattered hip, busted ribs, punctured lung, coma for 9 months, then half a year in rehab out in Colorado, relearning to walk, think, breathe without that fog of painkillers. Sarah handled everything back home. Bills, insurance, even hired a caretaker service for the property. I trusted her completely. But deep down, this gnawing worry simmered, like what if my haven wasn't waiting untouched? When I finally rolled up in a cab that humid spring day, heart pounding with anticipation, the first red flag hit like a gut punch. A fancy sign at my driveway's edge reading, "Welcome to Oak Shore. Exclusive access for Riverside Estates members only." Polished wood gleaming like it owned the place. "What the hell?" I muttered to the driver, hopping out before we stopped, boots crunching on gravel that wasn't mine anymore, widened, smoothed, lined with those solar lights that scream suburbia. And my pond. Oh man, it broke me. The wild banks I'd nurtured were shaved into this fake-ass beach, trucked in sand sparkling white, 2 oversized pavilions bookending the shore with rows of lounge chairs, string lights twinkling mockingly, laughter echoing from families picnicking like it was their backyard paradise. There was a deck where my filter system used to be, now an outdoor grill station with locked fridges, hammocks swaying, even a damn paddleboard rack. A sign barked rules. Oak Shore hours. Weekends 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Scan badge. Keep it clean. I stood frozen, rage bubbling slow, then hot, realizing this wasn't some prank. It was a takeover, calculated, funded, turning my solitude into their playground. Storming up to the house, my house, I saw the porch repainted that bland taupe realtors love, my old swing gone, potted ferns screaming welcome like a bad joke, and the locks? Changed to some high-tech keypad that laughed at my keys. That's when her SUV purred up, black and tinted. Susan stepping out in a tailored gray suit, flanked by 2 goons in HOA polos, her face a mask of feigned surprise. "Can I help you, sir?" she asked. voice dripping that fake politeness. Help me? I snarled, stepping forward. You bet you can. What the fuck did you do to my home, my land? She tilted her head, eyes narrowing. And you are? Jack Harlan, I spat, the owner. Now explain before I lose it. Her confusion melted into this smug calm. I'm sorry, that doesn't add up. Mr. Harlan was declared legally incapacitated over a year ago. This property fell under emergency community oversight to prevent neglect. My jaw dropped. Incapacitated? Oversight? She waved a hand, all composed. Your absence left it vulnerable. We stepped in, invested to enhance the value. It's a community asset now, and frankly, sir, you're trespassing. The goons shifted, one muttering into a radio. I exploded. This is theft. You had no right, no goddamn permission. But she just smiled thinly. Calm down or we'll call the sheriff. We've got the paperwork. Sure enough, deputies showed, treated me like the intruder, and I slunk away to a dingy motel, shaking with fury, Googling my own address to find glossy listings for Oak Shore Premier Retreat, photos of weddings, barbecues, drone shots promising Phase 2, Waterside Lounge coming soon. They monetized my grave, and I whispered to the empty room, I'll dismantle this legally, brick by fake brick. That night, sleep evaded me. Staring at the stained ceiling, replaying Susan's cold gaze, her entitlement born from years of bullying neighbors into submission, probably fueled by her own frustrations, maybe a failed marriage or power grabs in that HOA echo chamber where land equals status. Come morning, I lawyered up, not some local hack tangled in small-town webs, but Ethan Ramirez, a sharp land rights bulldog from Memphis I'd crossed paths with in my federal days. I spilled it all over coffee in a greasy diner. He listened, eyes lighting up. You got your deed surveys? Digital copies on my phone, originals in a safe deposit box. Grab 'em. We're building a fortress. By afternoon, docs in hand, Ethan confirmed the scam. Sarah, bless her, had signed a sneaky temporary stewardship form from a guy claiming county ties. Turns out, it was Susan's brother-in-law's firm, Green Ridge Management, granting them admin rights while I was unavailable. But they went rogue, faked my death cert with a bogus signature from some electrician pal of an HOA crony, petitioned the county for control citing abandonment, then bulldozed my ecosystem for profit, destroying native reeds that filtered runoff, dumping chemicals that turned my clear pond murky. Digging deeper lit the fuse. Ethan's PI uncovered a pattern. Susan's HOA had acquired 4 other parcels from absentee owners, elders in nursing homes or vets overseas, absorbing them into community enhancements like trails or picnic spots, all under the guise of preventing blight but really padding their pockets with event fees and shady investments. One vet, old-timer named Earl Jenkins, thought his cabin was just being mowed. Now it was a nature kiosk with HOA plaques. He joined our fight, furious at the betrayal. We formed the Harlan Alliance, 5 of us pooling stories, Ethan filing class action bombs, cease and desist, fraud complaints, EPA reports on the wrecked wetlands, before shots of lily pads thriving, afters of eroded sand leaching crap into the water, and the money trail. HOA dues funneled into fake ecotourism LLCs, soliciting donations with dead people's names, grossing over $200K from my pond alone. Weekend admissions, yoga sessions, pond-infused cocktails in fancy glasses. We even drone-captured Susan in a pavilion huddle, her voice crackling over audio. He's gone for good. Brain dead or bankrupt. This gem's ours now, boys. Ethan's jaw set. This ain't a lawsuit anymore. It's annihilation. Things escalated when flames licked the night sky. Arson on one pavilion caught on our thermal cams, perp fleeing in a truck tied to their contractor. Susan called it wiring mishap. But we knew. Evidence torching, desperation reeking from her crumbling facade. Media pounced after a tip. Headlines screaming, HOA boss fakes man's death to steal his pond paradise. Interviews where I deadpanned. They partied on my tomb. Time to pay up. Public outrage fueled us into federal court in Knoxville. Polished halls buzzing with reporters. Susan sauntered in, pearl necklace gleaming. Lawyer at her side spinning tales of good faith community care. But Ethan shredded them. Deeds flashed. Fraud docs exposed. Environmental experts decrying the ecocide. Forensic accountants tracing laundered funds offshore. Then the tape played. Her laugh echoing, he's not coming back. Legally buried. She took the stand, tears fake as her donors. I was just helping. Ethan pounced. Identify this investor, Paul Reynolds, a supporter. Dead 5 years, your lie? Courtroom hush, her face crumbling. Jury's eyes hardened. Verdict hit like thunder. Guilty across the board. Fraud, forgery, laundering. 28 years for Susan. No parole. Her cronies 7, 15 each. Cuffs clicked as she glared daggers my way, whispering through gritted teeth. You'll regret this. But I didn't. Watched from afar as court-mandated crews dismantled Oakshore, ripping pavilions, hauling sand, reseeding banks with native plants. My pond healed, frogs croaking triumphantly. Payout? $3.8 million. Covered lawyers, restoration, a chunk for a wildlife trust in my name, splurged on a sturdy John boat dubbed Revived, gliding silent over reclaimed waters. A year on, I hosted a low-key bonfire, Sarah with her famous apple crisp, Ethan toasting with beer, Earl sharing war stories, stars above, fire crackling, that deep peace settling in, mostly. 'Cause here's the twist that still nags. Was Susan pure evil, or just a product of these HOA beasts where power corrupts, communities devour the lone wolves? Makes you wonder, how many hidden land grabs lurk in your backyard? What do you think, folks? Drop a comment. Was justice served? Or did the system let too many slip through before? Share your HOA horror stories, or defend them if you dare. Hit like if this fired you up. Subscribe for more real-life twists. And let's chat about where community ends and theft begins.